Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at another legend team. Of course, I'll link towards that in the description. And today we're going to have a team here with the Trevenant. And Trevenant is honestly, in the current meta, one of the most underrated Pokemon because the amount of Mud Boys that are around. Honestly, I didn't even know that the first battle would be against a Mud Boy. That's kind of funny. But the amount of Lantern that are currently around, the amount of Poliwrath that are currently around, kind of make it really nice to have something like a Grass-type Pokemon, and especially for Poliwrath. Having the resistance to counter is really fortunate for this Pokemon. So Trevenant, I put actually way too low, honestly. Like I played low in a different team as well, way too low in the tier list video. Should be somewhere around like 80 in the current meta for sure. And yeah, let's take a look here at the team. We're going to have a team as well of the Lickitung in the lead. We're going to have most likely Sasab of the Gligar. It's a little bit tricky in the current meta to use a Sasab, but I feel like Gligar is pretty safe. But as you're going to see already, the Trevenant is going to have a great matchup. I honestly didn't even know that the first opponent already had a Wish Kiss plus the Poliwrath, which kind of showcases how strong this Pokemon can actually be. We can go for one Seed Bomb here, get the first knockout after one more fast move, but I can take the Scald here from the opponent's Wish Kiss. We don't get another debuff, but we already have one debuff on our Trevenant, which also only allowed them to get to the move, but I can still go for the Seed Bomb. The opponent decides to forfeit. Next opponent coming up, let's take a look what they're going to run. We're going to have the Talonflame in the lead. This is going to be a very decent matchup. Actually, for me, I guess kind of the matchup where I kind of want to have it in right now. You cannot swap out, and it's not actually that important that you swap out with this team. Like, it is a very solid Pokemon on their own already, and it's like a solid core on the back. Of course, you have the weakness against the Ice-type Pokemon on the back, which can be a little bit tricky. But, for example, here against Talonflame, you kind of want to stay in, let the opponent throw. We're just going to go for the Body Slam. We're going to see what the opponent wants to do here, as they're going to allow me to even get to another Body Slam, which will be very cool for us, as we can just go for the next Body Slam to get the next shield from the opponent, having a double shield advantage, which definitely does not last for that long because the opponent has so much energy that we still should be able to farm them all the way down now. Like, the maximum energy that they could have is 10 at this point, so they still need 2 fast moves, and yes, we're gonna have energy advantage here, which is kind of nice. I try to catch a move, which does work out onto my Trevenant, which is amazing. As the opponent goes for the Hydro Cannon, we will see that they're going to have in the back the Whimsicott. I'm forced to go for the Shadow Ball, and at this point I'm fairly certain I can just go for the full farm down afterwards from my Gligar. They're going to be able to knock me out with a Moonblast here, but I should be able to get to 2 Aerial Aces in order to knock out the Swampert. So let's see here, I already have 2 Aerial Aces, and I actually going to go for the Dig first, which is a little bit risky, I guess, but let's see. It just barely doesn't do enough damage. I overtap by 1, which was like really scary, but I can still go for the Aerial Ace in order to knock out the opponent. Next opponent coming up, are we going to encounter the Lantern in the lead, which is going to be a good one for us, I guess. I guess it's like a kind of neutral one. But our entire team can actually deal with Lantern, which is amazing for this one, because we have Dig on our, what's called Gligar. We're going to have Power Whip on our Lickitung, and we're going to have also the Grass-type coverage on our Trevenant, which is going to be great for this matchup. As you see here, the opponent is going to use a shield. I should have not used the shield here, but I did, and it was just a Surf, which was kind of annoying. As the opponent decides to swap out into the Medicham, I go into my Gligar, which is a mistake. I should have went into my Trevenant. This is like a clear mistake. Being double weak to Ice typing can be a little bit tricky, but actually the opponent is running not the Ice Punch apparently, because they go for the Psychic. And so, as you can see, the opponent goes for another charge move. I was a CMP type, which was kind of unfortunate, but they decided to go for the Power Up Punch. So we know the entire moveset of the opponent, which makes it actually a decent matchup for me. I can not charge because I didn't really want to go for a charge move yet, but let's take a look here. The opponent goes into the Skeledirge and gets the knockout, which makes it a little bit of a trickier one. I go for the Power Whip here, trying to get basically the knockout against the opponent with a little bit more fast move damage of my Trevenant, but I'm not sure if this is going to be enough to knock them out. They still need another fast move to go for their next charge move here, which is going to be important, as they can reach the Seed Bomb in time. This is going to get the knockout, and so this game is kind of over, as they're only going to have the Lantern in their back, and this is going to be a good game. Next opponent, let's see if we can get the opponent crit as well. We're going to have the Trevenant in the lead actually, which is amazing for us. But we're going to see the Toxapex swapping in, and I was not really sure what I wanted to do here. I decided to go for a Body Slam to just weaken them a little bit, because they have Wild type coverage, of course, for our Gligar, but they're also going to have still a decent matchup against the Trevenant, and I decided to catch a move here. It's going to be the Sludge Wave, and that's all the opponent really took, because they're already going to forfeit this one. Next opponent, most likely one of the worst possible leads that you can encounter in the Bastion. I decided to swap out into my Trevenant in order to get out now the Pelipper of the opponent, which is kind of fine. This basically, I feel like Bastion is the only time where you really want to swap in your Trevenant instead of your Gligar as a save swap, because at the end of the day, if they have a Bastion in the lead, like you really need to have your Glider with Dig aligned to it, because the rest of the team can struggle a little bit. At least gonna be able to get a shield advantage here, which is kind of nice. They're gonna go only for the Weather Ball, which is also kind of decent for me. It's going to be another Weather Ball coming through, but I don't really care too much because it's down to Glider to win this game. Let's see if we can win this game here against the opponent. We gotta see in the back a Swampert, and I make a huge mistake here. What I should do is just use a shield here, that's totally fine, and go for the Dig, because Dig is going to do a ton of damage, but at this point I know, okay, I screwed up, because I didn't count the moves of the opponent. This was a CMP tie, and there is no way for them to use a shield at this point. And yes, they do not, and so if I went for the Dig, I would have been able to knock them out, but also, if they would have shielded the Dig, I still would have been able to get to another one and would have knocked them out. Like this, I'm not going to be able to get to another aerial ace in time. This is going to be now a CMP tie, which makes it even worse. And if I didn't go for the charge move here, I still would have survived this move. I would have been able to farm down and go for a Dig anyway. I just completely screwed up the game. Literally, this was not a team issue at all. Like the other team, like the other game there against Sebastian, I should have been able to win, but it just was me that played this pretty bad. But let's see if we can still come back from the next one. We're going to have here the swap into the Glider against the Poliwrath. I can still, of course, go for the Ice type move, and they make a great play catching the charge move here on the Lantern, which is going to be a little bit of a tricky one, because we're still going to be forced to go for the Dig. They are still going to be forced to go for the Surf. Dig is not going to do enough damage because we are debuffed, and so they can let this move go through as well. I'm going to let this move go through. There's no real reason for me to use a shield, especially as I can now go ahead and go into my LilyNiRiain and try to get some extra energy. This is going to be hopefully okay for me. I will be able to just take those moves a little bit easier, and I know that I need the Trevenant for whatever they have in the back anyway, but if they go back into the Poliwrath, I can still go for the Power Whip, but they decide to go into the Superior, which is okay for me, I feel like, as I will be able to just go for the Body Slam spam. This is most likely my best bet of playing this matchup out, because we're going to be able to do some decent damage here. They're forcing the opponent to throw as well, and I can maybe overfarm, so the opponent's Poliwrath is not going to have the greatest time here. I should still be able to survive what's called aerial ace here, non-step, not really the best move, not going to do too much damage, and the opponent decides to swap out into their Poliwrath, allowing me to go for a Seed Bomb, and sadly, as you can see, this was a CMP tie, so I am not too sure how many fast moves I can go for, and I decided to go up to 6. 6 is like the highest that I could imagine would be the best for me, and I was able to get the move off here. I think I could have went for actually one extra one, but we're going to be able to get the knockout here, and we're still going to be able to reach the Seed Bomb to knock out the opponent's Superior, so this is going to be a good game. Next opponent coming through, we're going to have a Chestnut in the lead. This is going to be okay for us as well. We can swap out into our Glider, and in comes the double from the opponent. I'm going to try to go for the aerial ace here because, yeah, I need to still hit a Dig, I guess, but the opponent decides to use a shield, which is amazing, so we were able to basically bait the opponent there, which is great. And now we can go for the Dig, which is going to do more damage, as well as we might put the opponent into the farm down range for our wing attack Glider, and yes, we can still at least take one Body Slam here, and I should be able to reach another charge move. And even if they're going to use a shield, never mind, they're going to go for their own charge move. I think I'm going to be able to just I should have maybe shielded this move up there and tried to go for the full farm down. Like this, I decided to go for the full farm down with my LilyNiRiain, which does get double super, not double, but like single super effective damage from the fast move from the opponent. So it's a little bit more tricky. We're gonna be a little bit lower, but in comes now the Lantern. This game is over. Trevenant is honestly one of the best core wreckers in the current meta. Like, this Pokemon has like so many matchups where like people try to pair a grass type with a water type, and then they're confused by Trevenant completely destroys their team, which is just so much fun to play. Here, very interesting, the opponent stays in with that Charger bug and goes for the Extra, which is kind of wild. I will be able to go for the aerial ace with the Vigoroth as well. This is going to be a decent one for me, as I can now get some damage onto them already, and there might be forced use a shield again. And again, we can do the exact same as in the game prior, where you can just go for the Dig and do a ton of damage against them. It's still going to be a little bit of a trickier one. Maybe 2 aerial aces would have been a little bit better, but I can now go for a Body Slam, and as I went for one extra fast move before, I know that this is not going to be a CMP tie. The opponent is going to get knocked out, and we're going to get out the Charger bug. And I'm not sure if this was actually the smartest decision to swap out immediately. I don't think it was in the end of the day, but Exeter is coming through. They can still go for another one, but here I take way more damage from the Exeter, while of course the Wall Switch is resisted, but they have a Wish Kiss in the back, and why did they swap in and then forfeit? I have no idea. Next opponent, we're going to have the best lead possible basically for this team, for like where this Pokemon could be at least, because the Dugong in the back would be really difficult for this team to handle. But in Elite it's kind of okay. We would be able to win this one in a zero shield scenario, but as the opponent decides to use a shield onto the Power Whip, it's gonna make this a little bit trickier. The opponent can still go for a challenge move. Icy Wind is coming through, gonna get the second attack drop onto my Lickitung as the Power Whip is coming through and try to hit the opponent. This is going to do some decent damage. We can still try to reach a body slam in time, and we do, but I don't think it's going to get a shield from the opponent, and it doesn't. So they can just go for the full farm down as I decide to swap out into the Medicham. As you can see here, I decided to go into my Gligar for the easy reason that the opponent has an Ice-type Pokemon. Yeah, they can go for an Ice Punch here, which is fine. But I don't want to have the Ice Pokemon aligned with a Fast Moves against the Gligar. So yeah, I can still go for the Aerial Ace in time to knock out the opponent's Medicham before they can do really anything. They're going to not use a shield here, and I can swap out now into my Trevenant, trying to win this matchup here with another Fast Move coming through. But they actually can still survive with this one with 1 HP, just barely getting off another Icy Wind, which is going to make this all a little bit more tricky as they're going to have a Cresselia in the back. I can go for the Shadow Ball, but we're double debuffed in attack, so our Fast Move doesn't do enough damage, and also the opponent can just go for their own charge move in order to try to knock me out. And so it is Gligar against the Cresselia, Shadow Gligar at like half health, and no energy against the Cresselia is kinda not the matchup that you want to be in, so we're sadly going to lose this matchup. Next opponent, second to last one for today, we're going to have another Bastion user here as we're going to swap out immediately into our Trevenant. This is kind of how you want to play it. I feel like this is the best way of playing this matchup. As the opponent goes for a charge move, you're going to have to shield this move up. Flamethrower would do, of course, so much damage, but they actually go for a Stone for whatever reason, doesn't really matter. We still need to use a shield as the opponent swaps out into their own Trevenant. And this point of time, I know this is going to be very decent on for me, because I can just go ahead, go for another Shadow Ball, get another shield from the opponent, get them low, and put in our Lickitung, which can go for the full lick down there, can only go for the Seed Bomb, which actually does surprisingly a lot of damage here. I did not think that this would do as much damage as it actually did, because I can actually still get to, I think, 3 of them. Because, yeah, we can see here another one coming through, and I think they can still go for another one, and yes, they do, with like 1 HP left, which is kind of annoying. But let's see, we're gonna see the Seed Bomb coming through. We can go for the swap out, and they're going to have a Superior in the back, and I feel like this is going to be a great matchup. Gligar as well as the Trevenant really proved so far that they are really good at core breaking teams. Grass plus the Bastion is a very common line, which Gligar completely destroys. Plus also now here, of course, that Trevenant is being able to beat those fighting types plus water types or grass types plus water type teams. As they can go for the dig, this game is over. The opponent already forfeited, which you see on the bottom right basically, and we can move on to the next one. Next opponent coming through, we're going to have the Dragonair in the lead, and we will be able to go for some body slam action here, which is going to be okay for us. We can just play us this lead. This is going to be an okay lead for us, as we will be able to now go ahead and let this move go through. Let's see what the opponent is going to try to do here. We're going to see the swapping out into the Tentacruel. I was a little bit late here, which is not really ideal for me, but let's see what we can do still with that. We will see that the opponent is going to go for Scald, which is not going to get the attack drop against us, which is kind of nice. We can go for the bait. Hopefully the opponent is going to shield here, because the dig would knock them out, and they do decide to shield. I go for a dig again, but it's going to be sadly a CMP tie, and this time around this Scald is going to get no debuff again. That's mad. Like, my luck is actually on point here right now. But as you're going to see as well, the opponent is going to decide to swap out here into the Dragonair, but I call that he went for the Aerial Ace, knocked them out instead, and so they can swap back if they want to, but I don't really care too much about if they want to go for the Scald or not with their Pokemon here, as I can catch the move onto the Lickitung. A lot of catches coming up here, as they can get the attack drop this time around. I cannot really go for the full farm down, but I think I'm going to be able to outspeed them with my Gligar here, I think. But I decided to go still for my Trevenant, hoping to go for the full farm down, because a lot of times just a Seed Bomb or like a Shadow Ball is enough to knock out a lot of Pokemon. They're going to go for the Acid Spray, which is a little bit tricky, and they're going to have a Clodsire in the back. Clodsire is okay for me. I think this is going to be fine. I will get a Shadow Ball off, and this is a mistake. Show went straight for the next Shadow Ball as well, because the opponent does not even see CMP tie. It's a little bit awkward. I tried to catch a potential Earthquake. What I actually caught was a Mega Horn, which is fine as well, as the opponent decides to forfeit. And so it's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.